16:05:12. So this will be video mix number 148. Vanus Enigma video mix 148. Just want to remember two little stories of my mother. Before she gave birth to me, she worked in several places, most time in a bank, but later, or at last, as secretary of a psychiatra. Sorry, I'm more used to speaking in Spanish. Psychiatry in German. And he is psychologist or psychiatrist. Oh, sorry. How embarrassing. Just in the beginning of the video. Anyway, he liked to joke around, and then once there came two lesbians and they were waiting in the room, and of course my mother was first there, she secretary, and then he talked with my mother, what do he said, what do they want of me? I'm not lesbian. And now, okay, my mom accustomed already, more or less, especially explaining that there's much risk of breast cancer, and I have 4 reasons, not just 1, 2, 4 reasons for mastectomy. And anyway, I explained before why I want to make the treatment of testosterone. It's a little bit complicated to explain. I have different priorities than normal most of the FTMs I have, because of anorexia and all these bad consequences. Anyway, what I wanted to say, then if I think of talking with my mom, and okay, later I told you, normal effect of testosterone, the voice will drop, no doubt. But anyway, I'm sure my voice will go up because I can talk like this, because I'm innocent crypto kitty. And if I imagine to talk with my mom, anyway, I really like to play with my voice. It's much more contrast if you have a deep voice and then you talk like this. It's even more funny, I think. Don't you agree? So if I imagine to talk with my mom, and she maybe asks me to do something, and I don't I have not much desire to do that. I imagine myself already telling her, what do you want from me? I'm not lesbian. And another little story with my mom. Of course, she's already 75, and the legs are not the legs of a 20-year-old girl. And me too, I'm over 18. I'm twice over 18. I'm more than 36, but no, I'm more than 40 even. And often I like to wear some these red stockings, with these holes, because actually they are more resistant. They, if you sit somewhere, or you can repair them more easily than these other very fine Anyway, what I wanted to say. I said here Gran Canaria, much sun, and anyway with short trousers or skirt. And I said to my mom, why don't you wear some stockings like me? Do you want, look, you can have this one. And she said, then I look like I want, but I cannot. I thought this is really so funny. And this is how, a little bit how I feel like, I feel like, I feel very much the difference, you know, when you're a 40-year-old woman, you or over 40, then you have only less or half the testosterone you had in when you were 20, or anyway 7 times less than men have testosterone in the blood. So I feel like I want, but I cannot. Anyway, it was really... Now I remember when I was in primary school, we used to have these little books. In German it's called Poesiealbum, and we gave to the friends around us, and they wrote a poem inside. And just now I remember one, mach es wie die Sonnenuhr, zähl die heiteren Stunden nur. Do it like the watch of the sun, count only the sunny hours, or something like that. And it's nice to remember funny quotes. I think it makes you smile. And by the way, I'm already speaking about friends of school. Just in my last video, number 146, I mentioned a little my first love from school. Okay, no, not relationship, but it's just now thinking back again because of the topic androgyny. I'm thinking about my past and how I converted in that person I'm now. Actually this was, or yeah, in that time he was a female man, boy. He had a little bit long hair, and yeah, it seems like I long time really didn't want to pay attention to my sexual orientation. I was like almost like all my life working as a female actress. Lately, these last years, always with strong desire to throw the phone out of the window into the swimming pool. But who will renounce a job when if you count the if you count the money per hour or the money per minute? Anyway, I'm not doing almost anything, just answer the phone and that's it. MIT, no, sorry, TMI, too much information. Alphabet soup. What's for lunch today? More alphabet soup? FTM, MTF, female to male, male to female. You have to learn all these abbreviations. My mom, I told my mom when I talk with her on the phone, she only puts puts off the volume on the TV, but she's still, while I tell her something, she says, now the image is something on TV, and she doesn't pay attention to what I tell her. And then I talk to her, do you remember what does FTM mean? And she forgets about it. Okay, she's a little older, but she could pay more attention. I tell her, I will make an exam, and I will ask you, did you really listen to me what I tell you? The famous alphabet soup, I like this word, and I looked for some images on Twitter with these, these noodle soups, alphabet soup, and often the YouTube channel Truth Unveiled 777, he uses this word, and another favorite expression of him is very interesting and suspicious. I wrote a comment on Twitter, it's all very interesting and suspicious. Do you remember how often did you use this expression? 666 times? Because he just made a video about this mark of the beast, Bible prophecy, Apocalypse 666. By the way, if you want to see some videos of my mother, go back in my YouTube channel, Vanus Enigma Video Mix. In the beginning, I think 2013, I made several videos where she reads in German. I'm thinking once again more about identity and names, especially. I told you several times before, I have different Twitter accounts where I like to explore different hashtags. And of course, my name number one is Vanus Enigma. Vanus is actually abbreviation of my legal name. And my second favorite name and Twitter account is Innocent Crypto Kitty. Actually, I'm more active on that account, where I have connected my second YouTube channel, and when I click on that I like a video, it copies automatically on this Twitter account. And my third favorite name is Soul Confiscator Cat. Actually, I have many followers on, actually most followers on that Twitter account, although I'm really not very active on. I just copy when I retweet from Vanus Enigma Video Mix. And that account, okay, let's start again. My main account and main first name, Vanus Enigma, I would use in the daytime. I like to go out in daytime. I prefer to stay at home at night. And in the twilight time, it's Innocent Crypto Kitty. And at night, when I can't sleep, I convert into Soul Confiscator Cat. And when especially when it comes to, I haven't done very few videos looking straight into the camera, but I feel like in direction of hashtag verbal humiliation and dark humor, sarcasm, truth. Look at the hashtags I have in that account of Soul Confiscator Cat, Cyberpunk, Soul Trade Game, Wait a minute, I'll have a look. So at the moment I have the following hashtags in my Twitter account: Soul Confiscator Cat, Cyberpunk, a soul trade game, creepy conspiracy comedy, truth, sarcasm, obey, mind control, Bible, Antichrist, 666, tax, Jesuit, Pope, VIP, abbreviation alphabet soup, very important person, apocalypse, dark humor, and BDSM, abbreviation bondage, you know what I mean. And in location I have found a state of Illuminati. And by the way, have a look at my cover picture of Soul Confiscator Cat. It's the flag of United Nations, but the colors are reversed. So the countries are white and all the background is black. And in the middle it's written the hashtag Let's Talk FE with red color, red letters. FE abbreviation for Flat Earth. And right now I'm starting to listen to a video with the name Casting Bridges into Cracks of Doom, Androgyny, Alchemy, Evolution, and the One Ring of Zap Oracle. Sounds interesting, especially before I listened to some more videos. The combination of androgyny and alchemy and transgender and transhuman cloning. Interesting video of Truth Unveiled 777. And B.O.B., the rapper, he talks very much about cloning centers and hashtag Stop Human Cloning. So the following might sound very mysterious, but I just want to mention it without going into details. Sometimes I feel curious about knowing something about X or XYZ, but I feel really often like very pissed off. So if you several times had some bad emotions, so you on one side, okay, you feel curious, but on the other side you feel very still pissed off. The last time you got angry when you clicked on certain places in internet. So this topic goes on not one topic, several topics of curiosity, androgyny, disturb the mind at night and convert you into Soul Confiscator Cat. So listening to that video I mentioned before, I discovered or got conscious about one funny hashtag, which is chicks with dicks, and I just want to record a few minutes of that video. It's about at minute 13. Now I am just starting a minute 12, second 23.
A state of confusion and instability, and we almost very rarely show androgyny in a mature and well-realized, well-integrated state. In popular speech, people continually confuse androgynes, hermaphrodites, transvestites, transsexuals, intersexuals, and bisexuals. For example, in Dan Brown's runaway bestseller, The Da Vinci Code, the protagonist, Robert Langdon, is lecturing a group of prisoners on Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci was in tune with the balance between male and female. He believed a human soul could not be enlightened unless it had both male and female elements. Obviously a great description of true androgyny. You mean like chicks with dicks? Someone called out. Brown may be contributing to the confusion somewhat by using the terms male and female, which imply anatomical differences. Jungians use the terms feminine and masculine to refer to the complementary archetypal principles which the Chinese called yin and yang. Masculine and feminine, yin and yang, exist in all human beings. It is not uncommon at all for a particular female to be far more masculine than a particular male. A couple of years ago, I gave a talk about Tolkien and androgyny and began by carefully explaining this distinction. Despite this, at the end of the talk, I was amazed to get several comments, especially from women in the audience, who thought I was stereotyping men and women when I was referring to masculine and feminine. People are so used to being stereotyped by their gender that even these archetypal terms can generate automatic defenses.
So now I stopped at minute 14. And if you want to listen to the whole video, because it's 3 hours long, the title I mentioned before, but I repeat: Casting Precious into the Cracks of Doom. And I still have little problems too, because it's really new, this word sometimes to pronounce. Sorry. Cracks of Doom, Gnosis, Alchemy, Evolution, and the One Ring of the YouTube channel Zap Oracle. Published, wait a minute, on March 29th of 2014. It's incredible. I feel like I'm really getting old to learn new words, especially these strange words like androgyny, androgynous, and mastectomy, androgyny, alchemy. Okay, alchemy I heard very often before, but androgyny was almost like a new to me. Just remember that my mother language is German, and okay, first I started to learn English, but then I was much more fluent, and maybe I'm still more fluent in Spanish than in English. So, and concerning the age, it seems people say, I must wait till you are 18. But to me, it seems like I must wait till I'm more than 2 times 18, and I must wait till I'm 3 times 18. That German quote with mit 66 fängt das Leben an. All people waiting till they are in pension to go to Gran Canaria. But my father died in the age of 64, so he almost like he didn't start to live. But I think maybe the main reason is he got this very strange illness. Wegnerische Granulomatose is an autoimmune illness, and I think it's caused because he started to eat this raw cereal, and it was his digestion got like crazy, and he got diarrhea, and me, I was like 10 or 11, 12 years old, age of primary school, and all these books he read. We didn't have internet at that age, at that time in 19 in this 30, 40 years ago. So I read all these books. I was very influenced. I got that obsession of the body, and I saw these fat asses of the women, and I subconsciously, anyway, I told before I started to, at the age at 3 years old only, to want to wear trousers, play with cars only, not dolls, and with the age of 5 I cut myself the hair, and yeah, at the age of 12 I fell in this very dangerous anorexia. This is just the time when my father got ill. Started, a long time he suffered, but he was still kept with these many problems, many years. Yeah, just thinking now, we actually fell ill at the same time, more or less. Just now I'm getting conscious again about that fact in about, wait a minute, 1994, more or less. He had one dangerous operation. He got that hole in the throat to be able to breathe better, and he was almost dying when they made this surgery. And he told my mom that he saw already families who had died before him, and and one sister, she died very early, and but he came back. And I told one dream I had just 24 hours after his death in one video with the title, "Do you really know what you believe?" Cosmology is the title. The number I don't remember, but it's the title, Cosmology. And because it's that dream, incredible. And long time I wondered about the symbolism, the meaning of the dream, interpretation. Actually, it was a nightmare, but it doesn't sound, if you tell that, it doesn't sound like a nightmare, but it's incredible how much we dream. If something really impresses yourself, a big impact. The last dream I had, I still didn't tell that, what really happened. But I made a slideshow on my YouTube channel, my second YouTube channel, with the title Short Videos on a Cinema Innocent Crypto Kitty. I made that slideshow, what happened in the night between Easter. Just actually we are celebrating 2 days after Easter, but actually it's on Monday. So that night I was like thinking very much about imagining Jesus going down in this underworld, Sheol, and then waking up again. And I feel like, oh, that was really my arm, my left arm. Anyway, I have, oh, maybe later I will tell the details. Now I want to go on with my to-do list. Remember me to tell what happened in this stream. Strange things happen at night. What on flat Earth happened in the night between 27 and 28, if I remember well, of March 2016. Right now I'm thinking about my cap. Some time before I was wearing often like a cowboy hat, with like a band, like flag, with written to advertise my YouTube channel Vanus Enigma. But since last year, 2015, when I came back from Germany here to Canarias, and then like the wind got much stronger, and then I changed to the cap again, because so much wind, and I really now lately I'm always using this headphone with a microphone at the mouth, so you can produce better audio recordings, voice recording. And I'm just thinking, long time I've on my to-do list to produce another, like a band, or maybe print it on that cap, and another cap I've got, I don't, but no, what I actually want to say is, I'm asking myself if maybe instead of Vanus Enigma, which is my first name, maybe I print on that cap that very popular name, Soul Confiscator Cat, because if I like to produce videos this way, but if it comes to stand in front of the camera, I got like angry and annoyed, and I like very much sarcasm, and I feel like verbal humiliation. I admit I have suppressed aggression, but okay, I have very much learned to control that. But on my Twitter account, I retweet from Vanus Enigma. So anyway, if the people Google Soul Confiscator Cat, they will see it's immediately connected with my main name, Vanus Enigma. And I always feel like I have to hide my real identity. You know, look like God. Why doesn't he show him or herself? It's like it said, God created the humans in his own image, but he made them male and female. So if God is only one person, he must combine these two sexes, these two genders. You understand? So that's why I think God and also the devil, Lucifer, however you want to call it, are androgynous. actually I prefer the hashtag Androgyny because it's shorter, but I often have a look how many search results are there if you type in Google or in YouTube, and it's almost the double amount if you put in androgynous in comparison to androgyny. But I really, yeah, it's always a little bit a question of the length of the words. If I always try to use the whole space in the title of my YouTube channels and on my Twitter accounts, in the profile and in the tweets, I always like to use the whole space. And I prefer to just write one tweet instead of two tweets. Okay, sometimes it leads to confusion. For example, once I actually wanted to write Happy Christmas, but then I wrote something like Happy Santa Claus. It was that comparison, like it's like stopping to believe in Santa Claus, and the whole topic of letters, hashtag Let's Talk FE. So still listening to that video, and he mentioned the one shapeshifter, but already before I had something like, okay, I admit I have drunk a little another beer. No, one beer today, my first beer. No, I don't have intention to drink more. I think just preparing a coffee, okay? Don't misunderstand me. So, just what I wanted to say. Just had a little fantasy. Anyway, when I explain my name to people on the street, Vanos, it rhymes like Vamos a la playa, but written with N, okay? And I admit I have a little fantasy to go to Vamos a la playa, you understand, go to the beach with, and this goes really in sexual orientation. As I mentioned before, I always feel like the necessity to hide my real identity, and just that I mentioned the word identity. Bitcoin Dog talked with some other people about this topic, and as he is very famous, and I know that he said to let's talk Bitcoin people, just let me alone. Of course, if you're starting to get famous, then you feel like, oh, I need to hide myself. So why don't you cross-dress a little, put on some female stuff, clothes, fashion, and let's go to the beach. Vamos a la playa. Nobody will know because I'm innocent crypto kitty. You know, I want to tell everybody. It's a secret. Anyway, if I talk about something a little TMI, too much information, it's often more later in the video, So people who are impatient, they won't get the secrets. The secrets are often in the end of the videos. Did you know? Yeah, it's true. Often the best parts are in the end. Or for example, they do like a ranking 200 proofs of the flat earth, or the 10 reasons why blah blah blah. Often the most important arguments, topics are in the end. They start with number 10, 9, 1, and go! I just want to record a few minutes of that video, starting minute 28.
Giving free health care to the poor. You're thinking of Jesus. How he is imagined to look, however, may be far more appropriate from the point of view of archetypal projection, since he has always been the bearer of an androgynous message. It is especially the Jesus who was edited out of the New Testament, mostly by the pagan Roman Emperor Constantine, in that infamous Council of Nicaea, or famous, depending on your point of view, who expresses an it's the one in the Gnostic Gospels, the Jesus who expresses an alchemical gnosis of androgyny. For example, everything in this whole paper could not be said more concisely than what Jesus says in the Gnostic Gospel according to Thomas. Quote, "When you make the two one, and when you make the inner as the outer, and the outer as the inner, and the above as the below, and when you make the male and the female into as single one, so that the male will not be male and the female not be female, then shall you enter the kingdom." As Singer points out, androgyny is the act of becoming more conscious and therefore more whole. So that's how basic it is. Basically, Singer follows Jung's lead into alchemy, recognizing it as a science of human transformation with much to say about androgyny. The Taoist I Ching, which employs an alchemical metaphor throughout, emphasizes the need for the conscious person to follow the path of reverse alchemy, as it calls it, to regain their original essence. Acquired conditioning, beginning at birth, separates us from our original nature and wholeness, and the conditioning acquired from any culture is always full of intensive gender role programming. Aristophanes' myth goes further and suggests that human incarnation, incarnating into a gender-specific body, is itself a departure from wholeness. Recent research demonstrates that a good part of gender differences, which were believed to be culturally conditioned, turned out to have very strong biological underpinnings. Regaining androgyny, therefore, may be more difficult than even the heroic efforts necessary to break free of acquired conditioning. Some gender limitations may be overdetermined, with part of their determinative influence locked down even into our DNA. To become androgynous may be analogous to trying to break the source code of the matrix, which is multi-layered, including both social and genetic coding. The alchemists and consciousness pioneers like Jung and Gurdjieff understood that their work was contra naturam. Jung used that term a lot. It was against the enormous inertial mass of nature, or matrix. Matrix actually means mother.
So now I stopped at a minute 30. Just want to repeat one thought that I think I have said at least once. Simply, if people stop procreating, having children, all the problems get solved automatically. As like God wanted to destroy almost the whole world, just save a few righteous people, Noah with the ark. And I think androgynous people are more likely to be happy living alone, a single life, because they feel they combine these two sides, yin and yang, feminine and masculine. And some more minutes, starting minute 46.
Depression, a nervous breakdown. The image that you see in the middle panel of the Alex Gray painting, which we included above. The kind of healing they seek is what the word healing essentially means. That is to be made whole. Okay, so that is what's happened with any illness, is there's been a breakdown of structure, a chaos of process, and you want to get all the parts back online. And that's also what happens in the painting, the Alex Gray painting.
Painting art.
Above this text in the online document. The object of this stage was to bring about a condition where a new union could take place between opposites which have been broken down through the agency of operations personified in Mercurius.
Just listening to minute 59, I remember like one nightmare I often had when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I always dreamt of these contrasts, and he talks about more contrasts, and I just want to add more contrasts: cat and dog, Bitcoin dog, blocked cryptocurrency cat. So I'm starting minute 58 now, a few minutes.
Obviously in the online document, it's called The Two Modes of Consciousness, a Tentative Dichotomy. And I'm going to skip the column that says who proposed it, the sources of different of these dichotomies. It'd just be too tedious to read. And I'm just going to give you these in pairs, and the first part of the pair is always going to be day, and the second part is always going to be the night version. So, for example, day, intellectual, the night version, sensuous. Time, history, eternity, timelessness. Active, receptive. Explicit, tacit. Analytic, gestalt. Right side of the body, left side of the body. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere. Propositional, appositional. Linear, nonlinear. Sequential, simultaneous. Focal, diffuse. The creative heaven, obviously from the I Ching. The receptive earth, the feminine yin element. Light, dark. Time, space. Verbal, spatial. Intellectual, intuitive. Buddhi, Buddha, manas. Causal, acausal. Argument, experience. The emphasis on words may abstract the living reality of these forces. Understanding how these forces work in you and others is necessary to ground this distinction.
So I just want to add, of course, God and the devil. Just writing some ideas in my to-do list. Maybe I'm going to change to profile pictures one of Innocent CryptoKitty. At the bottom I have the hashtag Let's Talk FE, abbreviation for Flat Earth. Maybe, I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking about to replace that hashtag by Androgyny, and the similar profile picture I'm using in my Twitter account, Crypto EEV, is abbreviation for English Español Vanus Enigma. Yeah, to replace maybe the hashtag Let's Talk FE by Androgyny, or in Español is andrógino. Andrógino. And in my Twitter account, Virtual Diva V is at the username, and I changed the name a little. The name I put Sexy Chili Kitty. I made a video to explain why I fell in love with that name, and maybe there I want to include the hashtag Chicks with Dicks because it's so funny, and it remembers me a little like in the hashtag P in Peace. I've got that hashtag in the Twitter account Comedy Court, JCCVW, the abbreviation for Justice Court Comedy in Virtual Worlds, and FTM, MTF, and so on, transgender. Just want to share an idea for another Twitter account, but I don't want to open it. You can open it if you are bored with the name Alphabet Soup. Yeah, I think it's really funny because so many abbreviations, for example, TMI, too much information. FTM, female to male. MTF, male to female. And of course the profile picture, like a real alphabet soup with noodles. And 1 egg, please. Did you know that eggs are a very valuable source of protein? But of course I have very much sympathy of people who have vegan philosophy, like Patricia Steer, and if I remember well, Eric Dubay too, but it seems like he really needs to eat a little more. Especially men often lack the protein if they are vegan. By the way, I consume much protein pulver with soya basis, and it's vanilla flavor, and it instead of sugar or whatever, it has stevia. In Spanish it's written stevia. Aroma de vanilla. Proteína aislada de soja procedente de habas de soja no modificada genéticamente. Yeah, this is important too, of course. Organic, not genetically modified. There's another abbreviation, alphabet soup. I think GMO. Genetically modified organism. GMO, alphabet soup, is any organism whose genetic material has been altered using genetic engineering techniques. GMOs are the source of medicines and genetically modified foods, and are widely used in scientific research and to produce other goods. Okay, the following might seem a little like a TMI, too much information, but it might help some women. For over 20 years I've been taking the baby anti-baby pill because I was always very afraid to get pregnant for any reason, in spite of not having any relationship, especially these last years. And you know that you may not take the anti-baby pill with vitamin C, and if you're sick, antibiotic can interact negatively too, so you have to keep these things separately. And I always take vitamin C, magnesium. Now lately, since I've learned about testosterone, I'm taking vitamin D too. And now, about one month, I stopped with the anti-baby pill because now finally I got conscious that it lowers the testosterone level even more. You know that it diminishes very much over the age when you get over 40. The women. I think this is one reason why my libido is under the basement somewhere. So what I often did, I said, okay, at that time I take vitamin C, and then I have to put the alarm clock. And in addition, I often put something in the house to remember me that I have to take that pill. And sometimes I was taking vitamin C in the morning and the pill often in the evening, and it was often some kind of stressful, especially if I was out somewhere and the alarm clock goes quick, 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 and the people ask, what's the matter, or what's up? And I don't want to talk. I do alarm clock because of that fucking anti-baby pill. And when I heard about testosterone, my cat ears, you know, that I'm using the profile picture of the cat, my cat ears went like cling when they said, at about a few months, then the period, menstruation stops. It stops? Really? Oh, that's what I want. Of course, there are 3 things I don't like, but these are nothing in comparison to the effects I want. The first, of course, you will lose hair. That's why often people make a break in the testosterone treatment. And the second one is acne in the face, and that normally you give injection, and this means needles. And many people are very much afraid. I'm not so much. I have many tattoos, too much tattoos. Yeah, these 3 things. Of course, people who are afraid that the voice drops, but I think it's really interesting. I like to play with my voice because I'm innocent crypto kitty, and I promise you, my voice won't drop, it will go up, you know? What do you want me to do? I'm not lesbian. Just want to record a few more minutes, 1 hour, 40 minutes, talk about masturbation.
Out the prohibitions against masturbation in numerous cultures and spiritual disciplines, including Taoism, Kundalini Yoga, and Tantra, and states that it has no basis in human anatomy, suggesting that it is based on archetypal material. From the point of view of the Eastern energetic alchemies of Tantra and Qigong, ejaculation by males is in most cases viewed as extremely detrimental. While these systems have in other ways a very sophisticated understanding of human energy, when it comes to male orgasm, they seem to view the energy system not as an open flow of energy, but as a closed system with limited resources, which each ejaculation permanently diminishes. But the body creates seminal fluid to be ejaculated, and not to be indefinitely retained where it can putrefy and cause infection. Dr. Andrew Weil, go to drwild.com and type masturbation into the search engine, reports on an Australian study which finds that men who masturbate are 30% less likely to develop prostate cancer than those who don't. Anybody who knows how hard it is to find detectable, statistically significant correlations with many health factors will tell you what a gigantic differential this 30% is. I'm not suggesting that there is no truth to the position of Tantra and Qigong on ejaculation, but I am asserting that it is a one-size-fits-all formulation. Indeed, excessive ejaculation can be draining, particularly when conditions are more yin and less yang.
And I heard about production of testosterone. Okay, they were talking about sex, but in the end it's more or less the same reaction, I think, the production of testosterone. Smile. And by the way, I'm already speaking about friends of school. Just in my last video, number 146, I mentioned a little my first love from school. Okay, no, not relationship, but it's just now thinking back again because of the topic androgyny. I'm thinking about my past and how I converted in that person I'm now. And actually this was, in that time he was a female man, boy. He had a little bit long hair, and it seems like I long time really didn't want to pay attention to my sexual orientation. I was like almost like all my life working as a female actress. Lately, these last years, always with strong desire to throw the phone out of the window into the swimming pool. But who will renounce a job when if you count the if you count the money per hour or the money per minute? Anyway, I'm not doing almost anything, just answer the phone and that's it. MIT, no, sorry, TMI, too much information. Alphabet soup. What's for lunch today? More alphabet soup? FTM, MTF, you know, with these holes. Because actually they are more resistant. They, if you sit somewhere, or you can repair them more easily than these other very fine. Anyway, what I wanted to say. I said here Gran Canaria, much sun, and anyway with short trousers or skirt. And I said to my mom, why don't you wear some stockings like me? Do you want, look, you can have this one. And she said, then I look like I want, but I cannot. I thought this is really so funny. And this is how, a little bit how I feel like, I feel like, I feel very much the difference, you know, when you're a 40-year-old woman, you or over 40, then you have only less or half the testosterone you had in when you were 20, or anyway 7 times less than men have testosterone in the blood. So I feel like I want, but I cannot. Anyway, it was really... Now I remember when I was in primary school, we used to have these little books. In German it's called Poesiealbum, and we gave to the friends around us, and they wrote a poem inside. And just now I remember one, mach es wie die Sonnenuhr, zähl die heiteren Stunden nur. Do it like the watch of the sun, count only the sunny hours, or something like that. And it's nice to remember funny quotes. I think it makes you female to male, male to female. You have to learn all these abbreviations. My mom, I told my mom when I talk with her on the phone, she almost has, she only puts off the volume on the TV, but she still, while I tell her something, she says, now the image is something on TV, and she doesn't pay attention to what I tell her. And then I talk to her, do you remember what does FTM mean? And she forgets about it. Okay, she's a little older, but she could pay more attention. I tell her, I will make an exam, and I will ask you, did you really listen to me what I tell you? The famous alphabet soup, I like this word, and I looked for some images on Twitter with these, you know, these noodle soups, alphabet soup, and often the YouTube channel Truth Unveiled 777, he uses this word. And another favorite expression of him is very interesting and suspicious. I wrote a comment on Twitter, it's all very interesting and suspicious. Do you remember how often did you use this expression? 666 times, because he just made a video about this mark of the beast, Bible prophecy, Apocalypse 666. By the way, if you want to see some videos of my mother, go back in my YouTube channel Vanus Enigma video mix. In the beginning, I think 2000 spleen. I have different priorities than normal most of the FTMs I have, because of anorexia and all these bad consequences. Anyway, what I wanted to say, then if I think of talking with my mom, and later I told you, normal effect of testosterone, the voice will drop, no doubt. But anyway, I'm sure my voice will go up because I can talk like this, because I'm innocent crypto kitty. And if I imagine to talk with my mom, anyway, I really like to play with my voice. It's much more contrast if you have a deep voice and then you talk like this. It's even more funny, I think. Don't you agree? So if I imagine to talk with my mom and she maybe asks me to do something and I don't I have not much desire to do that, I imagine myself already telling her, what do you want from me? I'm not lesbian. And another little story with my mom. Of course, she's already 75, and the legs are not the legs of a 20-year-old girl. And me too, I'm over 18. I'm twice over 18. I'm more than 36, but no, I'm more than 40 even. And often I like to wear some these red stockings. 160512. So this will be video mix number 148. Vanus Enigma video mix 148. Just want to remember two little stories of my mother. Before she gave birth to me, she worked in several places, most time in a bank, but later, or at last, as secretary of a psychiatra. Sorry, I'm more used to speaking in Spanish. Psychiatry in German. And he is psychologist or psychiatrist. Oh, sorry. How embarrassing. Just in the beginning of the video. Anyway, he liked to joke around, and then once there came two lesbians and they were waiting in the room, and of course my mother was first secretary, and then he talked with my mother, what do he said, what do they want of me? I'm not lesbian. And now, my mom accustomed already, more or less, especially explaining that there's much risk of breast cancer, and I have 4 reasons, not just 1, 2, 4 reasons for mastectomy. And anyway, I explained before why I want to make the treatment of testosterone. It's a little bit complicated to explain.